One big example there that I think everybody would be struggling with at the moment, especially if you're here listening to this podcast, is there's a huge amount of noise out there right now in the AI world. So you're probably bombarded every single day with different news articles, different newsletters, different posts from people that you follow on social media. And it can get to a point where that becomes very overwhelming. So one very simple use case here of what I'm explaining that would be relevant for everybody is you can actually use automation tools and summarize all of that information down into much easier bite-sized pieces of content, plus then ask the AI if that content would be relevant for you and your business. So as an example of this, I wrote about this in my newsletter that's going out tomorrow at the time of recording, so it'll already be out by the time people are listening, is there's a tool called Feedly, so Feedly, and you can set up your own filters within that tool that the tool actually uses AI itself. They don't really tell you how it uses it, but you can set up a feed that will check all of the different RSS feeds for different publications that you might follow. So if there's people who are putting out new podcasts like this one, you could put that into the feed, or you could put in articles from, governing bodies where maybe they have some important announcements that are coming out that you want to stay on top of, and feed that into Feedly, given the name, and it will watch that content for you. And even just by putting all of that content into that one platform, plus there's also a newsletter option where you can generate an email address, a Feedly email address, sign up for the newsletters that you want to sign up for, and it will bring all of those newsletters into the platform as well. So that gets it out of your inbox. So you're not tempted to read that for an hour when you get to work each morning, which I definitely do way too much. So even just that tool alone, without any automations behind it, is going to save you a lot of time. But we can take it a step further, and there's another automation tool called Zapier. So Zapier will connect with so many different apps through the API and kind of connect them all together to make sure that all of your different tools are talking to each other when you need them to be. So we can send the information from Feedly through Zapier into the OpenAI or ChatGPT API. The way that I have found it to be most effective so far is creating two steps. So first, we want to summarize each article. So instead of reading maybe 1,000 words, we can summarize it down to 100 words and get a basic gist of what that article is about before we dive in further. But secondly, once it has created that summary, you can then create your own prompt. And you might say something like, I run a law firm in this particular area. These are the types of clients that we're typically looking for. Is this article that you just summarized relevant for my business? And ChatGPT will look for keywords that may find some relevance there, and it will tell you that whether it's relevant or not. And then the final step is you just send that all to a destination where you want to gather that information. Probably the best place for that would be Google Sheets. So you can send all of that information into a Google Sheet. So the only step that you need to do each day to stay up to date with latest news is to open up this Google Sheet, check the column to see which ones that ChatGPT thinks is going to be relevant for you. If it's relevant, you can read the summary. If the summary is not giving you enough information, you can click the URL and go straight into the article to read the full one. So just that process alone, if you do want to stay up to date and consume a lot of content without getting overwhelmed, that could save you an hour per day, at least an hour per week for sure. So that's just one simple process that we can do to start saving ourselves a little bit of time and bandwidth, and ultimately getting rid of that overwhelm that we're just bound to be caught up in if we continue staying up to date with every single tool that's coming out.